Hey everybody, welcome back to another jog video. It's your boy Jake, the one and only Stalin's Big Spoon here. And I wanted to do, I always say let's do a shorter one, and none of the videos have been too long, but every time I say I want to make it short, it never goes that short, but we'll see if I can actually achieve it this time. Just wanted to do, just want to talk about one big reason why neoliberalism will always fail. And this comes down to not just, bringing this up because of the actual issue at play here, but also because I think it's really getting in the way of understanding why liberalism and neoliberalism and anything progressive around that political nature and spectrum is not going to be sufficient. The primary reason for this is neoliberalism seeks power in tandem with conservatism, constantly vying back and forth between the red and blue fascism in the United States or in parliamentary Western countries and their associated parties. Neoliberalism and its supporters bargain for what they see as righteous and moral power, alongside literal bigots, fascists, and other problematic agents. Conservatism seeks to preserve the capitalist, imperial, supremacist, patriarchal system. Neoliberalism, the cousin of conservatism, believes the solutions and progress are in the free market. The ideas and progress neoliberalism barely manages to achieve will always be subject to the backsliding any conservative or reactionary force feels it can do. This is because that, with having a space where what people perceive to be as good as sharing that space with all different kinds of parties, what's perceived to be a place of democracy is actually a place of just coalescing power. And what you see is just all of these different constituencies battling for power when they're allegedly supposed to be working together. And in these democracies, you see nothing but at least one of these parties trying to seek control and dominance over everyone else. The extent that any of these parties cooperate with each other is only to the extent that it benefits them. None of them are interested in truly building a kind of partisan, multi-party coalition to advance and make, better policies, better changes in the country that they are within. This is just another reason that having one party only is so important, and just having a united communist party would be important. People think that this one party thing is like some, basically like a dog whistle for fascism. But all I see is with more than one party is fascism. Any time that there's any room for so-called free speech to allow even a breath of fascist air to make its way into democratic discourse will certainly give it more room and space to grow than it ever ought to have. Something that, people who are proponents of radical free speech seem to be so on board with supporting, but the moment any leftist or communist or socialist calls for revolutionary action, right, we're the ones deemed too insane. I'm bringing all this up because the social reforms, rad libs, I'll call them, radical liberals. It's not even radical. They're just social democrats. Bernie Sanders supporters, bread tube watchers. The reforms these people so-called that they want will never be set in stone so long as the shared power dynamic exists as a spectrum of fascism with no inclusion of socialist or communist parties or ideas, especially in the United States. The ideas guiding humanity's betterment can only be truly achieved by a new system, because this system has proven itself to exist on the fuel of exploitation and mass worker enslavement. This system seeks dominance, monopoly, control, power, money, things that aren't exactly humanity's best traits. And yet, we act like this is how it should be, like anything other than this is either inconceivable or, by default, because it is different, inherently abhorrent. This is absurd and insane. Everything that now is here was once new. Tradition is just a person's inability to see object permanence within terms of history and time. Everything changes. Everything is constantly changing. And the pursuit to maintain any one thing as it is to preserve anything, to believe, oh, this is how it's been, this is what we've been doing, right? To preserve that thing only justifies and proves the argument for progressivism even more, because everything that is apparently a part of tradition, that these people, tradition's just a new thing that lasts for a very long time. That new thing didn't come out of nowhere. It didn't just spawn. It hasn't existed forever. It started somewhere new. It progressed to a new idea and then existed in continuity with that new idea. There wasn't some kind of, I just think it's pretty telling that, like, anyone who preserves tradition specifically is literally just not examining, like, a pretty important aspect of, like, objects changing, and I don't know, maybe send some of these people through an epistemology class and call it a day or something, but I digress. I'm bringing all of this up because that solution in capitalism, any of these solutions to make things better in capitalism, is non-existent, because capitalism is a system in decay, and it's in crisis, perpetually withering away. Communism and socialism will lead the way. These thinkers, these writers, these great individuals who have contributed to one of the greatest historical movements in history, the most successful historical movements in history, the most noble, most honorable, most unifying. These movements have the most solidarity, right? This is what's going to help us make us stronger. And noticing just how much neoliberalism continues to fail. I mean, one of the biggest examples, let's take in the United States, right? You kind of saw an influx of LGBTQ support, not just in 2016, but also in the beginning of some Obama era years. And that's not just because of, it benefits company profit to support, these people, but also because there was social recognition beginning to develop. People kind of started, gay marriage was legalized in 2015 in the United States, I'm pretty sure. And although transphobia is certainly rampant and on the rise, I mean, trans genocide is, like, low-key totally ramping up right now, and it's extremely concerning. These are just, like, when people, the extent that any of these individuals within the LGBTQ community got any new recognition or progress or rights has all been wiped away, with new reactionary movements just getting more and more insidious and sinister and draconian and oppressive with what they're calling for. It's just getting more bigoted and more hateful. And, I just think it's because we really allow these ideas to exist. We don't punish people we don't censor people, we don't fine people for spreading misinformation, for spreading cancerous, bad ideas. And as long as the system benefits, right? I mean, I plan on making a video on this eventually, but school shootings are profitable for America. You see huge increases in stock price values, people kind of stocking up on goods, right? People purchasing weapons, right? The economy is bolstered when children are shot in schools. Okay, there's something very, very wrong with this math here, and I find it very, very funny and ironic. Everyone is so quick to doubt anything that any communist or socialist will suggest for a change, and yet the alternative is all of this, and none of that reactive questioning is present with anything that's in this current system. It's unreal. People are so afraid of trying something else that they'll literally take this poison and keep drinking it anyways. I don't want to go on too long for this, but I just think it's really important how neoliberalism is basically just a kind of progressive colored conservatism. It's just, status quo apologetics in wielding or abusing the aesthetic of change in order to justify its own power grab, while of course, showing that it's willing to just, the Democratic Party in America especially, they're so willing to throw anyone under the bus the moment it's convenient for them. So hopefully this is all pretty clear. I don't want to go on too long, so thanks again for watching. Hopefully this small little point was easily made, and I hope everybody's well. See you in the next one. Take care. Thank you again.